Alright everyone, welcome to Nodcry, and depending on the video that you came from, welcome to the other boss guide that I mentioned. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a boss guide on the Radiant Moonfly, which is the boss for Llama. She's in a northern hemisphere of Nodcry, and I did a boss guide on that on the top right corner, pinned comments alongside the description. Now, this one is every time I say it, this is the Knuckle Duckle, and it has been affectionately created and named by this fine young lady over here, Aino. And you get her for free once you play around maybe an hour or so in the main quest for Nodcry. The second you unlock the Clink Clink Crunkake Calf Shop, she just plops it into your inventory. She joins your party without consent and makes you sign the adoption papers. So, congratulations, you now have a daughter. Anyway, when it comes to this boss fight, the boss for the most part is a pushover. But unfortunately, I gotta say, Hoyo really is making it a little bit difficult for me and somebody to make these guides because our definition of free-to-play means that we can only use characters that are guaranteed to plop into your inventory from progression and or story. So, Lynette with one N, Barbara, Lisa, and most recently Aino, you get them for free and there's no way you can avoid them. So Amber, Traveler, you name it. But unfortunately, when it comes to this particular boss fight, it kind of demands a lot of finessing, and if you don't have someone that can apply a lot of electro and hydro, such as say Xingqiu, Yelan, Official, or even say Nuvolette, you are going to struggle a little bit. So the reason why I say this is because there's a tip in the game that tells you how to defeat this thing. Once maybe like 3 to 4 moves elapse, it'll enter Duckstruction mode, and the stamping devices are these little minions that you see here. And you have to do either Electro Charge or Lunar reactions in order to send them back to their creator. Or you can destroy them, but they have a lot of HP, and I don't think that's a viable tactic. And the unfortunate part is, while these minions are on the ground and shooting you with lasers, the boss will also be charging you. There's a lot of particle effects and just a lot of icons on the screen, and it could get a little bit overwhelming. And unfortunately, you have to do a lot when it comes to using the free-to-play characters in order to make full use of this mechanic. It's not impossible, but you'll need to make sure that your energies are properly refilled before the next phase happens, because there's 2 phases. The first phase, phase 1, which is very easy, and the second phase, which is the minion phase. If you successfully get all these minions back to their creator, you get a DPS phase that lasts about 10 seconds or so, and it has reduced resistance to your attacks, which is good. The unfortunate part is just having to make sure that you have to infuse like a thing here, and you gotta make sure that you gotta infuse the right element, and then you gotta splash normals and dodge out of the way while also making sure that you're dodging 3 different sets of attacks. So it does get hectic, and it really does make your life a lot easier if you replace these characters that you see in this guide with someone that can apply a lot more hydro and electro. So again, like Official, Xingqiu, Yelan, New Roulette, Yai Miko, even Raiden. So I digress though. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to tell you how it is and how to fight the boss. So let's take a look at the builds for our party members. So we're not going to actually bring our Traveler this time. We're going to bench them. I'm going to be using Lynette with 1 N as opposed to, well, 2. And she'll be the main damage dealer in this particular fight, at least for me. I'm going to give her Festering Desire. You can give her like the Pipe Gat or maybe like the Amanama Kageuchi. It's honestly up to you. I honestly would suggest this one if you don't have any other options. Also VV, it is what it is. It's a standard Animo user lineup. When it comes to everyone else, they're just here for the elements alongside the mechanics. So Barbara is making a return from the previous guide. She is going to be using the exact same things. Filling Tales of Dragon Slayers, Ocean Hued Clam. Lisa is going to be finally making another debut, and she will be using the Hakushin Ring alongside Noblesse Oblige, can see that we're using purple artifacts this time instead of gold, so she won't be doing too much damage to a rather late game boss. You don't have to worry about her doing too much. And same thing with Aino. She's level 40, and she's barely hanging on here. I gave her the Flameforged Insight from the summer event, but honestly, you could just give her something like Rain Slasher, or maybe even Mailed Flower, Sack Greatsword, or maybe even, if you really want to, Blood-Tainted Greatsword. Doesn't matter. And artifacts, I just gave her what I had. I just kind of plucked away things from other people, because if I didn't, she would topple over by just walking, I swear. So, again, she's here to apply Hydro and nothing else. And that's pretty much all there is to it when it comes to the logic behind these selections. But if I could, I would do this. I would bring over Official, and then I would bring someone like Xingqiu, which this would make this so much easier. But I can't, and so we must revert to what we have before. In order to start the fight, you just kind of go up to it and press F. The first time around I have different dialogue. You can check that out in the top right corner here with my video that I made on it. But after you defeat it one time, it'll change to this, and it'll be like, hello, friend. And you can be like, hey, Duckle Fuckle, I don't like you, and I'm thinking you are a Fuckle Suckle. And it'll be like, alright, we're going to throw hands here. And after that, it goes into phase 1. And it's honestly as slow and clunky as you see it. It's very easy to dodge out of their attacks, and like unless you get really close to it, it won't do anything too crazy. And when it jumps in the air, that like circle is very, very forgiving. Like it will not take a lot for you to dodge out of that, or even just iframe it. And you can just kind of hit it. It doesn't have too many resistances here. And that's what happens when you get too close. They'll spin in the circle or do a 3-phase attack, walk out of his attacks for the most part. But otherwise, once it leaps into the middle like this is the problem part. So here, I'm going to splash with Barbara, and I'm going to use Lynette's burst here and start normal attacking with Lisa, because I need to apply Electro Charged as much as I can, while also dodging out of the attacks here. And you can see I'm sending them back to their creator, which is nice, and that gives me a DPS phase. Pretty easy, right? You gotta make sure that you have your elements, or rather your elemental burst up, otherwise you just basically do no damage to it. Or, worst case scenario, you don't even get to the DPS phase, you'll run out of time and you just wasted your life and also your energy. It's not great. But otherwise, that's quite literally the boss fight. So here, you can see, I don't have my energy up. And so, I need to make sure that I properly infuse here. Otherwise, I'll waste all my time and my energy and my stamina, and I get nothing to show for it. So, I'm gonna see how much I can do. And I'm getting some of them back. So you can see that I'm not properly getting them back. I gotta be careful here. And I don't think I'm gonna finish. Yeah, so once I'm unable to send them back, it just kind of reverts back to phase 1, and I don't get a DPS phase, and I just wasted my time. So the unfortunate part is that you really need to have someone that applies a lot of Hydro and Electro fast. And like I said, if I wasn't limited to these units, I would be using something else, but in order for me to make this guide as lowest common denominator as possible, I have to use these units. Anyway, we're back to here. I just got pummeled into the floor, because congratulations to me, I guess. It only gets harder from here. So, I think we infused Hydra, which is good. And I used like a bit of a charge attack to make sure that most units are being able to get a bit more Hydra in there. Alright, and there we go. We managed to successfully get a DPS phase here. And you can see I do a lot of damage. And there you go. So all in all, the boss isn't hard, it's just tedious. And I kind of don't like that because, like, not everyone has, like, the Lisa Barbara build or your Aino build. So remember, if I'm recommending you to use another unit, please do so. But I'm just showing you that it can still be done by using the base units. And honestly, as long as Genshin upholds that standard, I'm okay with making guides. As even though that it may be a little bit more tedious to do with like guaranteed units that don't have many quality of life features compared to say like I don't know, an entire setup of double hydro, double electro that can wipe Abyss in like 2 seconds, that's fine. I'm not asking everyone to do that, and even though I may have the ability to do that, I'm not going to say that's the standard for these boss guides here, because nothing worse than a boss guide that involves a, hey, how about you pull these 5 characters that may or may not have released in the last 3 years and one-shot the boss. Those suck, you know. So I'll never do that, and I hope that you, the viewer, will hold me accountable to that if that ever happens. So, without further ado, that was it. Thanks for watching, and I do hope that this was of use to you.
酥酥麻麻，羽线难画，彩雨流红，一点把戏，惊喜，请看这边，现身吧，奥兹。呵呵，呵呵。